When it comes to rigging up your camera, there are so many different choices and options. Over the last couple of months, I've been testing all the good and not so good upgrades so that you do not have to. I've broken this down into my top 8 things that you can do to upgrade your FX30 and FX3. So it makes sense to start off with the cage. To be fair on Sony though, the FX3 and FX30 body design is probably one of, if not, the best design when it comes to capturing video with a mirrorless camera. So it's pretty easy to make this thing worse if you just start putting any old cage on it. After testing out a couple cages, I did notice that one of them stood out for one major reason above the others though. I'm also a bit picky when it comes to cages, as I don't like where there's some big gap, so it's like a generic cage that works with multiple different cameras. My cages have to kind of be designed to the body or flush, otherwise I feel like you're just unnecessarily making your camera bigger and more awkward. So the cage I think is the best and I have gone with is the Hawk Lock by SmallRig. In the grand scheme of things, this case is kind of mid-price and pretty reasonably priced for what it does. The Hawk Lock system is SmallRig's kind of own version of a NATO rail that allows you to slide accessories on and off and just kind of lock those in really quickly. I think it is a pretty looking case. It's definitely well made and visually does not protrude from the camera too much and looks pretty nice. One of the major advantages to this cage is it creates a full loop here for the top handle that comes with the FX3 and is an option with the FX30, and it turns it more into something that you'd get with an FX6 or an FX9 and is just so much more comfortable. The one that comes with the cameras out the box is a little bit short, kind of leaves your pinky dangling off. This fixes that and also gives you this extra sense of security with it being a full loop. Something else I absolutely love about this cage is at the bottom here you can't actually open up the battery door, and this is done by design. There's a little hinge on the bottom that you have to push out of the way, which then allows you to swap out batteries. Now this is obviously to prevent you accidentally not closing that battery door and it popping back open, or just any mistakes happening, and it's just nice to see so much thought and design have gone into a cage. And that difference I talked about, what makes this cage for me stand out above all the rest of the cages, is this leather side handle right here. The difference this makes on the grip of the camera shooting kind of longer takes handheld is game changing. You can loosen your grip and let go of the camera and it just stays in place, meaning that you do not have to squeeze the camera hard. You're kind of just balancing it in your hand. Not only does it give you better footage, less shaky, it's kind of like an extra point of contact. Also stops any kind of grip fatigue and just seems like you can shoot handheld a lot better for a lot longer. This next one is not probably on everyone's list or not important to everybody, but I do believe that at least we should work towards getting this into our workflow somehow at some point. Not only does it get us access to much better glass, but it also helps us invest our money a little bit smarter when it comes to purchasing lenses. This is the Nise E-mount to PL mount adapter. Now, an adapter like this is one of the smartest ways to invest your money, simply because it makes you purchase PL glass. Now, what makes PL glass different to all the other glass and lenses out there is its mount is truly universal. You can use this on a camera from 15-20 years ago and still use it on most modern cinema cameras today. In fact, most high-end modern cinema cameras come with a native PL mount built in. Owning a pair or set or even one zoom PL lens even makes switching from one manufacturer to another a lot more simple, knowing that you've got a kit of lenses that can be used on any project at all times, no matter the camera. The reason I like this Nise one here is it is kind of a middle ground. It's on the cheaper side, so it's quite affordable, but it's also a solid metal build. There's no plastic anywhere on this. There's no loose, wobbly bits. It truly gives you a lot of confidence and it does not break the bank. I know you can get some with drop-in filters in there, but I've never been a fan of having to find the right proprietary filters, swap them in and out. And that's just a whole nother complexity I've always avoided. So for me, I keep it simple, I keep it cheap, and I get this adapter right here. So let's move on to power delivery and batteries. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there who use V-mounts, and I'm one of those, but when it comes to rigging up my FX3, I like to keep it as small as possible, as I believe that is one of the main and best features of the camera it has. This is another small rig one here, and these have been out for quite a while, but I tend to go for these white small rig batteries right here. The main reason is because they have a USB-C port on the body. Now, I'm someone who likes to be extremely cautious when it comes to being a professional filmmaker, so as many backups as possible sounds great to me. Being able to charge multiple batteries of just phone chargers which are lying around without needing to carry any charger, or if you do bring your charger and it breaks and you're in a hotel between sets, this is the type of backup that I absolutely love. And if you take this backup and combine it with the next thing on the list, then you are definitely going to be fine. Now, this is a super smart technology that has been stolen from other places in the tech industry, and I'm so surprised we have not seen this come many years sooner to the world of camera batteries. We've all seen how AirPods and earbuds get charged when placed back inside the case. This is obviously done by having like a milliamp-hour battery inside the case that you can then carry with you, allowing you to get multiple charges on the go from your headphones. Now, we have all seen this translate into lav mics recently with the Hollyland lavs and on, where we're placing the lavs back inside the case and they are charging. Well, thanks to Ion, we can now welcome that to the world of batteries. Now, this can hold 2 Sony batteries at the same time. It stores them while also charging them. This thing has a 12,500 milliamp hour battery inside, allowing you to get multiple fully charged batteries while this is inside your bag and you are on the go. This thing is amazing for using like hot swapping when you are on the go. So you can keep this thing inside your bag with a couple batteries in it. When the battery then dies inside of your camera, you can bang that inside this, doing a hot swap with a full battery back inside the camera, and then this will fully charge that empty battery back full. This thing gets even better though, because it also doubles as a power bank with 2 input and output USB ports on the side. These allow you to output at 20 watts and also input at 20 watts power delivery, meaning that we can charge this thing in and out relatively fast, and also charge external devices like phones or other filmmaking devices. In theory, if you pair this with those small rig batteries, you could have 2 charging on the inside and also 2 more charging via the external outputs here. It has a screen on the front just here, what gives you a remaining battery life of the device itself, and just either side you'll see channel 1 and channel 2, which is telling you how much power is inside those batteries stored inside it. And when you plug an output source in to those USB ports on the side, you will also see a green light just pop up on that display. I've seen the price. It did cross my mind that this may be a bit on the pricey side, but then when you consider that this can double as a power bank and also save you from my multiple Sony batteries for your camera, it's actually quite a bit of a bargain. Now, this next one is not just useful for FX3 and FX30 owners, it's useful for everyone, even people outside of the camera world. I found myself using this in odd jobs around the house. This comes from a collaboration between the OGs of this YouTube camera space, Film Riot and Small Rig, and it is of course their new Multitool. The words I would use to describe this are like useful and satisfying. It is really well designed and thought through. It's got these like 2 buttons on either end that lock each tool in different locating points around their rotation. This is also the 10 tool version. They do a smaller one, which I believe is 4 or 6 maybe, and it pretty much covers you for every single camera tool you're going to need, from every kind of screwdriver or Allen wrench all the way to even something to tighten your tripod screws. For me, it's just how well designed it is, how nice it feels in the hand. You even get these little copper rings that separate all the different tools with the markings and names down either side. This is just extremely useful and also extremely satisfying to own. Next is something that I like to pair when using that PL adapter and cinema lenses. You'll learn pretty fast when you get into the world of matte boxes that there are 2 facts about them. The first one is 80% of the time you see one being used, it's just to look good and make the camera look bigger. And secondly, the other 20%, they're just annoying and get in the way. They can be so awkward to mount and swap lenses. They're just never really convenient. And that brings me on to why this is my favourite matte box I have ever used. It is simple, lightweight and super small. This is the Tilter Mini clamp-on matte box. You do not need to go around mounting rods and mounting it to getting in the way or anything like that. This thing mounts on by a filter ring, and you get all different sizes in the box when you get this thing. And it's simple as screwing on that filter ring and then twisting this little silver knob here to lock it onto that ring. It does only hold one filter. That can be a bit of a negative, I guess, but I also own a matte box that takes 2 filters, and also own another matte box that takes 3 filters, and I've not used them for years. I just find myself using this one because it's so easy and simple. I tend to have maybe an ND in here sometimes, and if not, it will just be a mist filter like is in it right now for when the project requires it. It also has 2 cold tube mounts and 8 threads on the top here. Well, you would be surprised at how useful they can actually be for a little light, or kind of mounting something as like a rigging shot, to mount like a pencil or something in front of the lens and someone holds it to pretend they're writing. All that sort of stuff can be done really easily with how small an FX3 body is and a really small matte box like this. This is simple, sleek, small, lightweight, pretty cheap in the world of matte boxes. So if you're after something to pop a 4x4 filter in, this is the one you should go for. I've not had this next one too long, and when I found out how much it costs, it is extremely affordable for what it can do. I almost expected it to be crap, and I thought I was going to hate it, but I was pleasantly surprised at how good this thing is for the money. If you went back like a decade, this thing would easily be 10 times the cost, or just simply not possible at the price point. I'm talking about the Small Rig Wireless Follow Focus Kit. This thing is extremely affordable for something that has everything in a kit you need to get going. This is a full follow focus system with one motor, and has all the feature set of kind of a mid-range kit, to be fair. The motor here is made of metal and feels really well made, where this thing feels a little bit plasticky, but it's kind of to be expected for the price. That said, it does have A/B points and is quite repeatable. The feedback you get is really good. To say this thing is like $200 is just quite insane. The motor does power through USB-C though, which can be a little bit of a negative if you're trying to keep your rig small, as then you would require to get on a V-mount and take power from that. But other than that, this thing works absolutely perfect, and I can't really fault it for what it costs. So if you are someone who wants to get into the world of follow focuses and just want something that maybe is going to sit on the shelf, and you're not going to have too much money sat on it because you don't use it that much, and it's just going to come out for them projects that actually need it, then this is the perfect follow focus for you. When you have all these accessories, all them expensive lenses and the expensive camera bodies, the one thing that you do not want to skimp on is a way to safely transport all your gear around with you. Backpacks are something that have always just been an issue or got in the way for me, until recently when I found this backpack I want to show you today. I'm talking about the Pro Light backpack from Manfrotto. Until this thing come along, I would use a pelly case for everything, as backpacks were just never really good enough for me. But this thing ticks all the boxes. I now have kind of flipped reverse, and I try and squeeze everything inside my backpack before I end up at a pelly case afterwards. It comes in different options like a front loader or a back loader. I personally choose the back loader as it feels a little bit safer that I have to take it off my backpack to get into it. Also comes with like a rain cover and a padlock included. The padding inside is like this extra thick padding they call like the M-Guard system. As a laptop compartment, you name it, this backpack can pretty much do it. And now we know the best way to upgrade our FX3, why don't we take a look at what the FX3 shapes up like against the brand new flagship Sony Burano.